10 tips to increase your efficiency while using Teamcenter Rich Client application. Let's start with tip number 1, hiding the navigation pane. If you're like me, you might find the navigation pane a bit distracting, especially when you're working on a smaller screen and have lots of information to process. For example, the MPP or structure manager, where you have to look for information in multiple columns and scroll all the time. Don't worry, there is an easy way to add some space to the client interface. Simply by clicking the toolbar button here, you can hide and unhide the navigation pane, adding more space to your client. Additionally, for some reason, if the button is missing for you, you can find it under Window Navigation pane. Moving on to tip number 2. Did you know that you can easily change the language of your Teamcenter client by adding an argument to the launch script? All you have to do is add an argument -nl followed by the language code you want to use. This can be very useful if you are working with international teams or if you simply prefer to use the software in a different language than your operating system. For example, if you want to change the language to German, simply add -nl de to the end of your launch script. As you can see, the language of the client has changed to German and the login window has changed. Once you enter the credentials and logged into the client, you will see the complete UI has been changed to German language. Here you can see all the out-of-the-box attributes now have been changed to German language, even the menu bars. Bonus tip here, you can find the language code in the registry folder. DE stand for German, FR stand for French, EN for English, IT for Italian, JP for Japanese, KR for Korean, and so on. You can launch the client in different languages by enabling it in the registry batch file and running it once. Please give it a try. Our third tip is all about customizing the toolbar to suit your needs. By default, the toolbar provides a set of commonly used actions, but did you know that you can add, remove, or rearrange button to make it more personalized? To customize the toolbar, right-click anywhere on it and select Customize Toolbar. Here you can see a list of available actions on the left pane and the current toolbar configuration on the right pane. To add a button, simply select it and click on the plus button in the middle, whereas to remove it, you need to select it on the right pane and click on the minus button in the middle. On the right pane, you can select any command and with move up and down, rearrange them according to your need. Additionally, you can add a separator for a more organized way of working. Fourth tip is about customizing the navigation pane. The navigation pane is an important part of Teamcenter interface that allows you to quickly access your most commonly used functions and data. Here are a few ways you can customize it. First, you can hide any default section. For example, you don't want to see the Open History tab, then click on the gear button on top of the navigation pane, select the section you want to remove, and click the less than button in the middle of the pane to hide it from the navigation pane. Additionally, you can rearrange the sequence you want to see each of these sections. Next, you can customize your quick links, which are shortcuts to frequently used actions. To do this, simply select Customize button available on the right side of the Quick Links section. From here, you can add, remove, or rearrange links to suit your needs. Note you can only paste folder links here. Next, you can organize your favorite section, which allows you to quickly access your favorite items. To do this, simply click on the Organize button. From here, you can add, remove, or rearrange items in your favorite list. Note, you can directly drag and drop any object to add to favorite. If you have the Open Item section enabled, you can click on Close All to close all the open items in your My Teamcenter. Next, you can customize I Want To section of the navigation pane, which provides a list of available actions. To do this, simply click on the Customize of I Want To section. From here, you can add, remove, or rearrange actions. These are similar to adding toolbar buttons. Finally, you can rearrange the Show Application pane. Simply drag the separator here to up and down to get it in icon or in a list way. Additionally, by clicking on the arrow button here, you can get more options like Add Application, which by default might not be shown. or by selecting the navigation pane options to rearrange, add, or remove any available application for you. Customizing the navigation pane can save your time and make it easier to access the functions and data you need. Give it a try and see how it improves your efficiency. Do you know that Teamcenter has two themes? It is set to default, but you can use the more classic one as well. You can do that from the tool menu here and selecting the needed one. Note that the changes are applied only with a fresh session, so you will be warned to restart the client. By changing the theme, you can give your Teamcenter client a fresh or old look, whichever best matches your taste. Tip number 6 is all about getting rid of the splash screen when you log in. While it may look nice, the splash screen can slow down the login process, especially on slower machines. Luckily, you can disable it with just one command line argument -no splash. To use this argument, simply add it to the end of the command used to launch the Teamcenter Rich Client application. With this argument, the splash screen will be disabled and you will be able to log into Teamcenter without any delay caused by the splash screen. One of the things you can do to speed up your login process is to enable automatic login. There are two ways to do this. You can either provide your password in a batch file to launch the Teamcenter or provide it via environment variable. Let us see first how to provide the password in a batch file. Open the portal.bat file in a text editor such as Notepad. Type the following command shown and save the file. Now let us launch the Teamcenter and it will not ask you for credentials. Now let us see the alternative approach where you can provide the password via environment variable. On the Windows operating system, let us set the environment variable. Here I am using tc_password as an environment variable name, and I will type in my password for my user. Once I have set the environment variable, I'll go back to my portal.bat file, open it in editor, and instead of directly providing the password, now I will provide the environment variable name. In same way, let us launch Teamcenter and it should normally log in without asking you for credentials. A disclaimer here that using the DTCC auto login parameter can be a security risk if not used properly, as it can expose login credentials to unauthorized users. It is important to take appropriate security measure to protect these credentials. Tip number 8. How to set your default perspective to launch when you start Teamcenter. By default, when you launch Teamcenter, it will open either the Getting Started perspective or the one which you had it open before closing the Teamcenter. However, you may find it more useful to start with a different perspective, such as the manufacturing process planning. To set your default perspective to launch, you can use a command in your launch script. Open the portal.bat file and set the Java options as shown. In this command, we need to provide the class name of the MPP perspective. You can replace this with the class name of any other perspective you want to use as your default. We will provide you with the full list of class names in the description below. Once you have set your default perspective, it will automatically launch when you start Teamcenter. This can save you time and help you be more productive. Tip number 9 is all about expression cache. Expression cache in Teamcenter is a memory cache that stores frequently accessed expressions such as queries, filters, or reports for quick retrieval. This helps to improve the performance of Teamcenter by reducing the time it takes to retrieve data from the database. Instead of querying the database every time an expression is executed, Teamcenter first checks if the expression is already stored in the expression cache. If it is, the cache results are used instead of querying the database. This reduces the overhead on the database and improves the overall performance of the system. To enable expression cache, simply add the following argument to the launch script, that is portal.bat. You can also customize the size of cache by adding the argument dExpressionCache.size. By using expression cache, you can speed up your searches and queries in Teamcenter. Our last tip for the day. Do you know that Active Workspace is a web-based interface, but it is also possible to display the Active Workspace view within the Rich client. This can be useful for users who prefer to work within the Rich client but need to slowly transition to the Active Workspace functionality. It can also help user provide more advanced functionality such as dashboards and queries that are not available in the Rich client. To display the Active Workspace view in Rich client, you can use the following preferences: Active Workspace hosting rack.url for Teamcenter 13 and earlier versions, whereas active workspace hosting.url for Teamcenter 14 and later versions. You need to set the value of the system properly to the URL of your active workspace server. Once you have set the following preferences, you can launch the rich client and open the active workspace view. Note that